Today, we're going to talk about a clue that's been around for over 100 years, but is still absolutely crucial. It's not some fancy high-tech scan. Nope. It's just a simple point of tenderness, a single spot on your belly that can be the key to catching a life-threatening emergency before it's too late.
You know that feeling, right? That nagging stomach ache? It's probably one of the most common reasons we ever feel sick. But how can you possibly know when that feeling is just something you ate versus a warning sign for something really serious, like acute appendicitis? Well, that's the big question we're digging into.
All right, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll see how the pain from appendicitis actually changes over time. Then, we're going to zero in on the exact spot doctors are looking for. We'll get into the science of why it hurts right there, check out some clues for the pros, and then we'll wrap it all up with one key takeaway.
So, our investigation starts with the pain itself. And the weird thing is, it doesn't actually begin where you'd think it would.
In the very beginning, appendicitis often just feels like this confusing, dull ache right around your belly button. You know, the kind of thing you might just ignore. But as that appendix gets more and more inflamed, the pain actually goes on a journey. It moves down and to the right, and it transforms into this really sharp, specific point of pain. That migration is our first huge clue.
So how do doctors get so precise about this? I mean, they're not just poking around in a general area. They are looking for a very specific spot on the map of the human body, and it's called McBurney's point.
And that brings us to the official term. When a doctor presses on a McBurney's point and the patient feels a very distinct tenderness, well, that's what's known as a positive McBurney's sign. It's a classic, really powerful signal that the appendix is in trouble.
Finding this spot is kind of like playing connect the dots on a person. You just need two landmarks. First, you find that bony part of your right hip that sticks out at the front. The official name is a mouthful: anterior superior iliac spine, or just AIS. Your second landmark is your belly button. Now, just imagine a straight line connecting those two dots. McBurney's point is exactly 1/3 of the way along that line, starting from your hip.
And to make that even more real, for most adults, we're talking about a spot that's only about 1.5 to 2 inches away from that hip bone. It's an incredibly precise target for a pain that might have started out feeling so vague.
I know what you're thinking. That is super specific. Why does it hurt right there, of all places? Well, there's actually a really clear biological reason for it.
It really all comes down to basic anatomy. As the appendix gets inflamed, it swells up. And in its normal spot, it starts to physically press against the super-sensitive inner lining of your abdomen. This membrane is called the peritoneum. And let me tell you, that lining is wired for sharp, localized pain, and it basically screams, "Hey, something is wrong right here."
The kind of pain is also a major clue. We're not talking about a dull ache anymore. This little memory hook from a clinical guide says it all. Sharp pain and burn. It's that sudden, intense, very focused pain that makes McBurney's sign positive.
Now, here's what is truly remarkable. Just how reliable is this sign? Look at this number. Studies show that McBurney's sign is there in about 91% of acute appendicitis cases. In the world of medicine, that is an incredibly strong connection. It's exactly why this simple physical test is still so valuable today.
So, let's put on our detective hats and see how this one clue fits into the whole investigation. For a doctor or a nurse, McBurney's sign is a really crucial piece of the diagnostic puzzle.
This chart lays out the whole story perfectly. You see, it starts with that vague, dull ache near the belly button. Then, boom, it shifts to that sharp, localized tenderness right at McBurney's point in what's called the right lower quadrant. And if doctors want to be even more suspicious, they'll check for something called rebound tenderness. That's when the pain is actually worse when they quickly let go of the pressure. That sharp spike of pain is an even bigger red flag.
But, of course, the human body loves to throw a curveball. There are some really important exceptions to remember. For example, if someone's appendix is positioned behind their colon, it's called a retrocecal appendix, the pain might actually be felt more in their back. And during pregnancy, the growing uterus pushes everything up and out of the way, which can totally change where that tender point is. So context is everything.
Okay, so we've tracked the pain, we've pinpointed the location, we've looked at the science. Let's boil this all down to the one thing you absolutely have to remember.
This is it right here. McBurney's sign equals sharp tenderness 1/3 of the way from your right hip bone to your belly button, and that is the classic sign for appendicitis. If you only remember one thing, make it that simple formula. It connects the sign, the location, and the diagnosis all in one. And you know, this whole thing really makes you think, doesn't it? In our world of MRI machines and all sorts of complex tests, the simple act of listening to a patient and using careful touch is still one of the most powerful tools we have. It makes you wonder, what other critical clues are hiding in plain sight, just waiting for us to find them?